What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, I've got a new, very different deck profile to show you today, because today I want to show you my current Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression Series deck. I haven't really done too much of this stuff on the channel. I know I've made community posts about it when I have done the stream with my good buddy Chris. He streams on Twitch at BH Specs 8. That's his name on Twitch. So we've been doing live streams every Sunday. We've been doing 2 boxes at a time, so 2 boxes a week, and we're pretty far into the progression series, but it's just been a blast, man. I already made a video talking about if you haven't thought about it, take a look at this series. So hopefully a lot of people have at least seen something from Gage and Simo. Shout out to them for even starting this series. This is just a format that they pretty much came up with. It's so fun, it's so cool, and I have the deck in person, but they're the ones who usually do it online. So you could do it online by using YGO Pro Deck as a pack simulator to just open the packs and use Dueling Book and stuff. But the one thing I would recommend is if you're going to do this series with your friends or something, which I highly recommend, definitely do the best that you can at just keeping track of all of your pulls. Or at least all the pulls that you think matter, because not every pull is going to matter, but if there's a pull where you're oh, that could come up later, if you don't take note of it, whether it's in whether you just keep a long ass Word document or something, you know what I mean, or just write it down, keep a long list written down, you're going to lose track of that, and you're going to not be able to remember, and at that point you could be cheating if you try and add some to your deck that you weren't sure or not if you pulled. So definitely try to do your best to keep track on stuff like that. But today I want to show you my deck. This is post, what is it? This is post Enemy of Justice, okay? Enemy of Justice is the most recent set we opened to do this. So I'm going to show you my current deck for right now, and I don't know, we'll get into it, okay? So let's just get into it. This could be a longer video anyway, because I feel like I got to go more in depth, because these cards a lot of people probably haven't seen in a long time, if at all. So starting off with the best 2 monsters in the deck, Sangan and Witch, man. They're great. I mean, they're just great. Witch is better than Sangan infinitely, because it searches so many more things, but Sangan's still great. Essentially all they do is when they're sent from field to graveyard, they'll search you any monster with 1500 or less defense or 1500 or less attack. Very good for just setting up for follow-up plays and giving you 1-for-1s and stuff. So just very good for future plays in the series. To kind of get you into those mainly, you have Mystic Tomato. This is another very good card in the series. If he's destroyed by battle, he can special summon any dark monster with 1500 or less attack, which is both of these. So that's very good. And there's a couple other monsters it can go into as well that kind of matter, but we'll get to those in a little bit. But he's very good. He just kind of floats and he's 1400, which is honestly not terrible. I mean, keep in mind, this is I don't even know when Enemy of Justice came out, but it's it's an old set, right? Next up, an actual good card. I actually don't have the best pulls. Oh, I didn't even say this. If you don't even know how the progression series works, you essentially open exactly 1 box of every Yu-Gi-Oh! Core set, and you only get to build your deck by adding all those cards you pulled, nothing else. You have to pull it or you can't use it. And so everybody's pulls are different, because you open your own box, somebody else opens their own box, you have different pulls, different decks, different combinations of cards coming together. So you got to pull good cards to play good cards. And to be honest, I don't even think my progression deck is that great. Breaker is one of the few good cards I have pulled. He's just amazing. He's a beater, he's back removal, he's a dark monster for chaos stuff. So yeah, I didn't even mention that. I just assumed people would know what a progression series is, but yeah, if you don't know. And then, so the idea is you would build your deck after each set, after each new set that you opened 1 box of, and then you would duel somebody, and you would just continually duel. Just if you check out Simo and Gage's, Simo and Nim's progression series, you'd see kind of how it's been going for them. But yeah. Next up is Tsukuyomi. I only play 1 copy. My deck isn't super flip heavy anyway, but it is still a nice card. It's 1100 attack, and when it's summoned, it flips a monster down. So that's really nice with stuff like Monarchs and stuff being in this kind of format with only 1000 defense. So this card just single-handedly outs a Monarch, which is pretty cool. And then anything with 1000 or less defense, just flip it down and beat over it. And then it's a spirit monster, so it jumps back into the hand, so you can do it again, summon it again and flip something again on the following turn, which is pretty good. So definitely a big fan of Sook. More dark monsters. Night Assailant and Zombira the Dark. Yeah, Night Assailant's cool. This could also be like Old Vindictive Magician, but Night Assailant also just has like the bonus effect to be able to get you like an add back from grave of a flip monster. So if he's sent from hand to graveyard, so he's pretty cool. But other than that, he's just flip up and Man-Eater Bug, pop a monster on the field. Very good card. And then Zombira the Dark. The only reason I really play Zombira is he's 2100 attack. And if he kills a monster by battle, he loses 200 attack, and he can never attack directly. So the idea here would be the fact that Spy is such a staple in this format. Spy is 2000 defense. So he at least guaranteed always gets to clear one Spy, which can be a problem if you just let Spy stack up on your opponent's side of the board. So he clears a Spy. He's a Rhoda target, which, hint, hint, I did pull Rhoda. And he's dark for chaos. And also, if you combine him with Tsukuyomi, same thing with Night Assailant. Tsukuyomi could like flip him down on the next turn. You could flip him back up, and then his stats would reset. So he'd go back to 2100 and be able to kill the other Spy, which is pretty cool. So just a good card, just a good beater. I'm surprised I still play him, but yeah, he's good. This is the only proxy I have at the moment. This is Destiny Hero Diamond Dude. I thought this is a really cool card. I have Rhoda for him. He's searchable off Sangan. I can summon him directly off of Tomato if I want. I just have such easy access to him. And I also play 10 normal spells. So if you don't know what Diamond Dude does, he essentially just says like, once per turn during your main phase, you can like mill the top card of your deck. And if it's a normal spell, you can just like use that effect during your main phase that turn, which is pretty crazy. So I could just like mill hammer shots, mill, just like board like these like normal spell cards that are really nasty, potentially Pot of Greed too, and then just get to use it. So that's really dope. That's literally the only card in the deck I don't have at the moment. Oh, also one thing, well, I guess it doesn't, we'll talk about when we get to a card that's actually banned, for sure. All right, then we get to the lights, because you kind of have to build your deck for chaos stuff. 2 copies of Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke. I almost wanted to play the third one because I did pull 3 of them. He's just so good, man. Once a spy is like face up, he's just clearing spies, and he's an 1800 light warrior, searchable off Rhoda, searchable off Witch. Like, he's a good card, man. He's a good card. He's definitely a staple, like almost at this point in the game. And this was like the spicy card I pulled this week that I decided to test out. It was okay. It wasn't insane, but Disciple of the Forbidden Spell. He essentially just says that when he's summoned, you can declare attributes up to the number of other copies of him are in the graveyard. So if you had 1 in the graveyard and you summoned 1, he would get to declare like Dark, the most common attribute in the game. And then if he ever battles a Dark attribute monster, he like automatically kills them without even going to damage calculation. And he's a 1700 beater regardless, which is still pretty big. A light monster, a warrior for Rhoda. So I just felt like he was pretty good overall for that. I tried him out. He was fine. I didn't even get to use his effect, but just being a beater, he came up just to clear things off. So he was still pretty good. I don't know if he's fine, honestly. He's just fine. And the last slide I play is One Magical Merchant. I used to play more of this, but I changed my mind. My deck's just a little more offensive than some decks you'll see in this kind of format, so I decided to drop him down. Like, it's a nice utility card, so I can automatically get a light off of like Sangan if I need it, because these 2 are searchable off Witch, but not Sangan. So I wanted one that was still searchable off Sangan if I was really trying to connect a light into the grave. And he just like replaces himself. He lets you like mill until you, when he flips up, he mills until you find a spell or trap, and then you just get to get that spell or trap to your hand. So he's pretty good as well. There, which takes us into our only non-chaos attribute monster, which is 3 copies of Hydrogeddon. Now, listen, this is definitely a tech card. This is not an absolute staple, but Chris's deck specifically, the one person I've been dueling against mainly in this format, has a very weenie deck. And by weenie deck, I mean he has a lot of smaller monsters that are not bad monsters, but they're just smaller stat-wise. So Hydrogeddon just like, boom, clear 1, get another Hydrogeddon, because if Hydrogeddon destroys a monster by battle, you get to summon another one straight out of the deck. So I've done it like 2 or 3 times already, where he has like Mystic Tomato, and I just go like Hydrogeddon over the first Tomato, Hydrogeddon over the second Tomato, Hydrogeddon over the third Tomato. Now, he never actually lost a card because he still kept a monster at the end of the day by going into the 4th monster when we ran out of attacks, but we got to just get 3 monsters out of it. So it's honestly a pretty cool card. Definitely a card to consider. Searchable off Witch, which is pretty cool, but still a tech card, and definitely a card I'll look at replacing at some point, because he's only going to be good for so long, but still a really cool card for right now. And then the last 2 monsters I play are the Chaos monsters. Most people pull multiple Chaos Orc, but not so many people pull BLS. So I was lucky to pull BLS, but I only pulled 1 Chaos Orc, so we're just on 1-on-1. If you don't know how they work, Chaos monsters in general, you banish a light and a dark to summon them, and then they get an effect to just like banish a monster from the field. He can only do face-ups. He can do any monster, which is insane. But they can't attack that turn, and then he can also attack a second time if he destroys a monster by battle. So he's insane. He's like particularly insane. I don't think he's amazing. Like they still lose to the same thing, but his like ceiling is definitely higher. So those are the only 2 boss monsters I play for right now, because you can't really afford to play too many. You're just gonna brick on them, right? And that's it for the monsters. 20 monsters. I feel like that's been a really good balance. I feel like I haven't really had many balance issues as far as drawing too many monsters, too many spells, too many traps. I felt like 20 monsters has been really good for me so far. Taking us into our spells, Pot of Greed. Oh, this is what I wanted to mention for banned cards. The rule for the progression series is if you pull a banned card, you can play 1 copy of it, which makes this format so fun. Is you get to play so many cards that are banned, but you play them at 1 and in a not optimized deck, obviously, because you can only play what you pull, so it kind of balances out. If you pull a card at 1, you can play it at 1. If you pull a card at 2, you can play it at 3 if you pull 3. But so you essentially just eliminate the ban list and make it add everything in the ban list to the limited list, and add everything in the semi-limited list to the unlimited list. That's kind of just how it works. So Pot of Greed at 1, it's insane when you see it. Painful Choice. I was very lucky enough to pull Painful Choice. This card's like particularly insane with cards like Disciple. You could send like 2 Disciples. Even if your opponent gives you 1 Disciple, he will automatically get his effect to like at least like kill anything, which is pretty good. This card's just insane. It's going to get better and better as the series goes on. I did pull Rhoda, which is also a pretty awesome pull. It's not amazing right now because I'm either just deciding between like what is it? I'm deciding between like Zombira, Destiny Hero Diamond Dude, or Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke, or Disciple the Forbidden Spell. Like, they're all just kind of warrior beater cards. Like, they're not insane right now. This will get better as we go, but still, it's nice to have. Confiscation, another busted card I pulled. Just looking at the opponent's hand and discarding 1. The format at this point is still slow enough where keeping this in the main is totally fine. I'm not even going to show you a side deck because I don't even have a coherent one, because it just doesn't even feel like siding does anything at this point. So I just built my deck all around to handle first or second. So Confiscation is pretty damn good. Oh, sorry about the alarm. We got Autonomous Action Unit. This is just a cool push card, and honestly, I just don't have as many good spell and traps as I wish I did, so this was kind of a filler card, but it honestly comes up. I have drawn this really late in duels when I didn't even have 1,500 life points. That sucked, but other than that, it's been really nasty. Just stealing a monster. You can steal like a Chaos monster that your opponent correctly summoned earlier in the duel. Like, it's pretty insane. 1 Smashing Ground, 2 Hammer Shot, and 1 Lightning Vortex. These are my like removal spells. Whoops, they're kind of off the screen. My bad. I play these because they're like nasty, and like just having them is like really good. Just having this many like good spells to like rip off of Destiny Hero Diamond Dude is pretty good. They're just removal. It's just quick removal. If your opponent summons a Chaos monster, boom, just clear it. Vortex is okay. I'm honestly not even 100% sold on it because I don't like having too many cards that discard, because this time in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is all about just the resource game. Just out-resource your opponent, and too many discard cards can actually bite you in the ass. But it was good the like 1 or 2 times I've used it so far, but if I start seeing it and it's not good, I'm going to definitely consider taking it out. But for now, it stays because it's been good both times, so I can't really complain. And then the last 2 spells I play are 2 Nolan of Extermination. This is such an early card to pull, but honestly, it's still remained pretty good. I mean, I don't have MST. I don't have, I only have 1 other real like back removal card other than like this and Breaker, but this card just goes after a set back row and either forces it out immediately or is just going to destroy it and banish it, and then both players have to banish all other copies in their deck, which has bitten me in the ass before too, because Chris played like 1 sack at one point, and then I banished his 1 sack, and I had to send all 3 sacks in my deck, and I was just like, what the hell? But still a good card overall. Definitely comes in handy. I like having the utility of having multiple cards of back removal, multiple cards of monster removal, just so I can have that utility, that versatility in the deck. All right, so moving into the traps, I believe we have 9 traps. That was 11 spells, I think. 10 normal spells overall for Destiny Hero Diamond Dude to hit, so keep that in mind. Starting out with the traps, 2 copies of Sakuretsu armor, just a staple here. I didn't want to go all in on 3 of it because it is a little choice. If your opponent has back removal, they can hit it and it can't chain, so that's why I didn't want to go too hard on it. 2 copies of Bottomless, that way if they wanted to like summon a monster, try and do something, this keeps them guessing so that like, oh, if I summon something, it still gets Bottomless, so I can't summon, like, if my opponent has Breaker, they can't like Breaker then go after the Bottomless, because then I could just Bottomless the Breaker, so I at least trade 1 for 1, right? Whereas Sakuretsu armor loses to Breaker hard. So yep, 2 and 2 there. Also 2 Dust Tornado. This is another part of my deck that I'm definitely very happy about. Definitely happy that I was lucky enough to pull 2 Dust Tornado. This card's been clutch all around. I mean, you got to play traps in this format, and this card just clears 1. So 1 for 1, but hey, still good. I'll take it. Then finishing up the traps, a couple of 1-ofs. 1 Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. I only pulled 1. If I pulled 2, I'd play the second one instead of the Raigeki Break, but it's what I got, so I gotta play it. And then the only like legit busted trap I pulled was Imperial Order. Very lucky to pull Imperial Order. I was very stoked about that earlier on in the series. It's just insane. And you may say like, oh, but like you can't really keep Imperial Order around that long. And that's true. A lot of times I don't end up keeping it that long, but it's like at the bare minimum, just like negate 1 spell, trade a 1 for 1. And at this point in the game, like everybody's got like bomb spells, man. You're negate like a Pot of Greed, a Painful Choice, negate like if somebody has Dark Hole or Raigeki or something, like that's a worthwhile spell. Heavy Storm's another one, like to protect other back row, make them trade 1 for 1 instead of getting like a 2 for 1 or a 3 for 1. Like it's just so good. It's so powerful. This card's come in handy so many times. Definitely love this card. But yeah, that's the trap lineup. Honestly, like the trap line is like so mediocre. Like I have a couple bomb spells. Like everybody has Pot of Greed, so I almost don't even consider it because like everybody has it, right? But like Painful Choice, Rhoda, Confiscation, like those 3, like those are pretty nasty. But for the traps, it's literally just Imperial Order. Everything else here is like pretty average. Like Dust Tornado is nice, but it's not the hardest pull in the world. Like you can miss it definitely, but I'm happy I pulled it, but like there's not a ton special here. So that is it for the trap lineup. And technically I have an extra deck, although I've never used it, and I don't play anyway to even use it at this moment in time. But it's just Fiend Skull Dragon, Ryu Senshi, and the Last Warrior from Another Planet. These are just cool like fusion monsters that could come up later on. I don't know if I pull like Cyberstein. I don't even know if Cyberstein's in a main a core set. But if I pull Cyberstein, I can just like Cyberstein out Last Warrior and like just win a duel, which is insane. Also, I do have Metamorphosis, which I'd only be able to play 1 of, but the problem is like I'd have to do like a level 4 or level 5 to even be like worth, or 7. Or not level 4, level 5, level 6, or level 7. And I just don't consistently put out those levels. Like, it's literally just Chaos Sword could go for Ryu Senshi, but I only have 1 copy, and I only have 1 copy of Metamorphosis, so I'm not even consistently able to get those. But maybe if I pull like a really good level 4 fusion, maybe I'd put Metamorphosis in, so I could just trade something for like a really good level 4 fusion, although I don't know how many level 4 fusions are like that good, or even potentially pullable coming up. But yeah, I just play these because they could potentially come up. They're decent if you can get them on the field, but they haven't come up yet for me, and I just already had them. So that's pretty much it for the for my current deck profile post Enemy of Justice. The last couple sets, like, we're in the middle of like a pretty big lull, like starting with like Flaming Eternity. You go like Flaming Eternity, Lost Millennium, Cybernetic Revolution, Elemental Energy, Shadow Infinity, Enemy of Justice, Power of the Duelist, and Cyberdark Impact. Like, all of those sets, cheeks. It's 8 straight sets of cheeks. And luckily we're already 6 through, so next week we're going to do 2 more like kind of cheek sets. And then we get to Strike of Neos, which is like the beginning of like sets getting like much better again, which I'm very happy about. So we just got to get through this next week. Currently my record, we're 17 sets in, I believe. No, we're 19 sets in now. We're 19, I think, right? Let's see, 4, 8, 12, 16, yeah, 19. I am 15-4 at this point versus Chris. He's gonna hate that I'm putting that out there like this, but I'm a dominating, man. I don't even think my deck's that much better than Chris. If you ask Chris, he'd complain and say his deck's way worse. Whatever, you freaking nub. I love you, buddy. So yeah, if you want to check it out, definitely hit us up. I usually make a community post letting people know when we're going live on his Twitch stream. Hopefully, I'll have a stream. Hopefully, I'll be able to start my own stream very soon. Like maybe in the next couple of weeks, maybe a month-ish from now. Hopefully, and then I'll be able to stream with Chris, and maybe I can do, if enough of you guys like build your own progression series decks, do your own pulls and stuff. We could be able to like duel on stream or something on Dueling Book. Like that would be so dope for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to share this. This has just been like my favorite, especially during like quarantine where like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh has kind of been in a lull. It's kind of been at a standstill. This has been like my favorite way to play the game as of late. And I don't know. I just want to share with you guys my deck that I've been playing with, or at least my current build as of post Enemy of Justice. So that's going to do it for me here, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know not everybody's going to be in love with this kind of video, but for the people that made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff from me. Let me know in the comment section down below if you're interested in seeing more progression series stuff. I could potentially like record me and Chris's like duels and like upload them and stuff, kind of like how Simo and Gage do it on YouTube, just to give you guys like the duels and the pulls and stuff. Like that could be cool. But yeah, I'm just curious, and I love this thing. It's just been such a fun format. So that's gonna do it for me here, guys. I'm out of here. I'm rambling too much as usual. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.